Hi everybody and welcome to Wild Earth this afternoon. I hope you're all well wherever you are in the world. My name's Tara and joining me on camera today is a new face to everybody, is Daniel. Welcome Daniel. I hope we're going to have a good game drive this afternoon.
I think so.
So Daniel's going to be operating the camera for you this afternoon, so we'll see how we go. I'll put him through his paces a little bit. But joining us in final control is Craig, and Sebastian's also going to be on board just to give Daniel a helping hand if he needs it. So we're full complement today, so I hope we're going to have a good one. Now the reason why we started on the tree is the reason we are here. Karula was here this morning and we were able to follow her, and she actually started sitting on this tree, and that's where we left her. Unfortunately she didn't stick around. She did take her time and she was sauntering down the road and climbed up the tree, and that is where we left her grooming. And she was actually looking around, she looked that way and she looked down, and I thought there was something there that she was interested in. Her tail was twitching and I really did hope that she was going to start hunting, but unfortunately she didn't while we were there, and we had to take the vehicle back and put it on charge. But those of you who stuck around, I hope you enjoyed seeing Karula, and she did pop out as I said she would. She did come out onto the dam wall literally just as we were starting our meeting, and Sapiwe spotted her walking across the dam wall. And as we got there, she did something very funny. I think we went into the bush and she must have popped out as we were waiting there. And the wildebeest and the waterbuck didn't give an alarm call, but the waterbuck ran away, and I thought it was our presence, and I thought the wildebeest were actually watching the waterbuck, but it turned out they may have been watching the waterbuck running away from Karula. Who knows if the wildebeest actually saw her or not. But yeah, a mystery to me as to what happened there. But very, very glad we were able to catch up with her, and we actually caught up with her just up by Inga's house. So she'd actually taken that route right the way through from Twin Downs Road up to the quarantine area just by Inga's house there, and that's when we caught up with her. Cut through here and onto Philemon's cut mine, or Philemon's dip, onto this tree here. So I'm hoping we're going to have a chance to catch up with her this afternoon. Keep your fingers crossed, and I'll see if there's any tracks. I have been looking down the road here. As yet I've not seen anything, but this is a main road. There's a lot of vehicles that go up and down here, so I think her tracks have been wiped out, but I'm hoping she may have crossed over, because the last tracks I had of her cubs were down by Treehouse Dam. So let's see if we have got any luck with us today. Keeping my fingers crossed, believe me. So Daniel, are you ready?
Ready as ever.
You're ready as ever, awesome. So now Daniel's got himself sorted behind the camera, let's get going. Now if you would like to get to know Daniel a little bit more, he will be joining us for Fireside Chat on Sunday. I just sort of spotted, yes I did, I got a couple of her tracks here. So she did walk down here eventually, which is good news, because I was a bit worried that she was going to go off that way. So she's gone down this way, crossed over possibly onto Rebecca's Road. And I was looking out for her tracks, but she must have crossed at a point where it didn't register too well, or I was just looking in the wrong spot to pick up her tracks on Twin Downs Road. And what was quite interesting is Sebastian actually filled me in on one of the drives he had with Mark or Patrick, saying that there was some wildebeest watching one of the boys, I think, Misha or Nduna, and they didn't give an alarm call. This is what really threw me this morning. And the fact that when we were on drive, when she was on the opposite side of the dam, the wildebeest were looking at something already, and the waterbuck was looking away, and then the fact that the waterbuck ran away, as I say, I thought it was us. But it is certainly one to remember for next time. just goes to show the bush is definitely full of surprises. Past the noisy pump where we get our water from, actually, the borehole. Okay, I think what we will do, we'll go up Rebecca's road and down Zoe's road, unless we get some tracks indicating she's gone that way already. But my guess is she's left the cubs somewhere this side. I'm hoping she was successful. She did look hungry. I don't think she's eaten since the Franklin she caught the other day when we were with her. And if anybody would like to ask any questions this afternoon, please send them through to questions@wildearthsafari.tv. And it's always great to hear where people are from in the world and to know that you're on board. I'm hoping it's going to be fairly easy to pick up her tracks. There we go. Got one track just here. She still cuts off down there. Not showing up brilliantly, but it is hers. That was lucky. The only one. Okay, so we are going to head back down towards Philemon's cut line then. It's barely registering. I was just about to say, at least no one's driven down here, so we can actually see if we get her tracks. Keep a really good look out in the trees here, just in case she's been lucky with a kill. You remember, this is exactly where we had the elephants yesterday. Again, lots of hyena activity along here. is barely registering, but she has gone this way. That's one thing I love about Karula. She does use the roads quite a lot. She does make our life a little bit easier when tracking. There we go. What I'm trying to look out for is if the cub tracks are with hers. Does actually look like they could be now. I would like to show you exactly what we're looking at here. I don't know if we're going to be able to. Are you up for it, Daniel? Okay, I'm just going to see and try and show you how the track looks at the moment. So if you want to stretch your legs.
Before you do that, you need to go sundown, okay? You need to jump regular first. You're going sundown, Tara?
Okay.
Sun is up.
So you've got to look really, really carefully. It's this one here. I don't know if it's going to be registering too well. Can you see it at all? It's just about here. So there's 3 lobes just here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. But you can see this is why I'm looking extremely hard. It is registering, but very, very, very likely. And just judging by the length of it, I think it is Karula's. You may have to drop it slightly. You may just get a better view of it there. Is that working any better?
Yeah, you can see something.
So there you go. So there's the back pad here. 1, 2, 3 lobes, and then the toes. The 4th one's just about there, I think. So that's what we're looking out for. That's, unfortunately, with it drying out a little bit, that's why it's not registering too well. So sharp eyes this afternoon. But let's jump aboard again and see if we can catch up with them.
Okay, now you go again. You go and put one there. And you put it back on the other side.
Hey. We're ready to go. Everybody's aboard? Awesome. And if anybody's not been able to join on previous drives, if you have noticed with the cubs, they're all paw, just like a puppy or a kitten. And that's because they do have to grow into their paws, and the paws are not much smaller than the adults. So So the Cubs tracks are probably about 6 centimeters and Karula's are about 7, so there's not much difference between them. And Misha and Induna are about 8 centimeters. Good afternoon, how are you? Hi, Tiger Man. Good afternoon to you. How old is Karula? She is 7 years old now. She was born March. March. And it was early March. So she started mating when she was 2.5 years of age. Her first litter being 2 girls. There we go. We've got lots of hyena tracks going off that way. Looks like the baboons came this way. Hi Philip, good afternoon to you. Noticing we have a lot of migratory birds between here and Europe. Where do they lay their eggs? It does depend on the species. We also have migratory birds between here and Africa. And especially those birds between here and Africa, going this way, or the rest of Africa should I say, they tend to lay their eggs here in South Africa during the summer. I think for the birds that come down here for the winter, for the European winter, I think a lot of them will actually lay their eggs up in Europe. Just thinking about the white storks, they tend to lay their eggs up there in Europe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just trying to think of the barn swallow, that's another one. I think they also lay their eggs up there in Europe. I think the barn swallows, is it now known as the European swallow? Just trying to make out the leopard tracks again in amongst all these hyena tracks. So I think we might have to try Zoe's and Rebecca's. I'm not seeing any more this side now. What's that there? I'm not seeing any more of her tracks here, but the ground has gone quite hard again. Let's go to the end of the junction, you never know, otherwise she may have cut through. Just thinking, if she has gone back up towards Rebecca's or Zoe's road, If she has done that, I'd have thought she would have crossed earlier. She seems to take the most direct route. And I can't see any more of her tracks. So maybe she was going along and now she's going to go down south again. Hi, Kristen. Good afternoon to you. I think we are going to have a quick check around Treehouse Down. She may have done something funny on that junction, even though there was one track there. It was just before the junction. Wanting to know, do leopards usually leave cubs in sets of 2, I think? Depends on how many they give birth to. They can have sometimes 3 or 4 cubs. I think there's even been a record of a female having 6 cubs, although that isn't really the norm. But for some reason Karula has had 2 sets of cubs each time, or two cubs each set each time. She's now had 3 sets. The 2 females, Saserka and Tingana, who have now had cubs of their own, and funnily enough they had 2 cubs of their own too, although each one has lost one of their cubs. This goes to show it's not as easy as it looks. Cub mortality can be very high. And then she had 2 boys, which was her next litter, Mishu and Induna, who were 2.5 years old, and now her last set, which are about 4.5 months old now. 1 boy and 1 girl. And it's certainly going to be quite fun seeing the differences between the 2. Seeing lots of hyena tracks again. They were very busy up and down this road last night. Does look like one leopard spawn going that way. So maybe we should continue down there. Maybe she just veered off. Let's continue on along Philemon's cut line. So she may have done something, gone off here and said marked a bit and continued on. Maybe for some reason carried on walking on this side. It does look like there was one track still coming past the junction. And I did lose the tracks the other day going up that way, so I really do think somewhere around here she might have those cubs, because it was only her tracks further up on Zoe's road, and it doesn't make complete sense for me or to me, for her to come down Finneman's Dip, up onto Finneman's Cut line, just to go all the way up that way. The only reason I can think of is maybe if she did that, if she was just scouting around for food, and she didn't take a direct route. So not ruling it out completely. It's quite fun trying to get inside Karula's head and trying to understand the way Karula works. And every time we see her, and we see her choosing different pathways, it's quite handy to remember those, because she's likely to use those pathways again. These are all hyena here. I think it might be worth us checking out Impala Plains though. Just keep a look out for her on top of the termite mound. She could just be sitting down watching us. We may not have found Karula just yet, but we have quite a fun track to have a look at. I'm going to try and get a nice one if we can. This one, I think. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. I want you guys to tell me what you think it is. So we're going to climb off again and have a look. And while we're driving around looking for Karula, we'll see who comes up with some answers. Chance of getting it over here, actually. This one I thought, if you can see this one, but if we can get to that one, that one might be clearer. There you go, this is the track. You've got one part of it here and one part of it here. So this will be one foot and the other foot. And if we are able to reach this one back here, this is the same animal, just a different way, but you may be able to see this a little bit clearer. It's a little bit deeper. So this is one foot, and this is the other foot here. So, different one, we haven't had this one before. So if you would like to send your answers through, send them through to questions@wildearthsafari.tv and put in the subject line what you think it is. But let's jump aboard, and I'm still going to have a look around Treehouse Dam, I think, just in case I miss something. And then we'll head up Zoe's Road. There you go, that's one more time. So, where do we go from here? I'm still thinking maybe... So it could be either way. But I'm thinking south to begin with, so let's go south. We'll go along Gowrie Lane. And if that doesn't throw up anything, we'll just head back around Treehouse Dam, but then we'll head up this way. Or maybe we should do it the other way around. Let's do it the other way around. Could even be around this junction here. find tracks of other animals, and we'll see if we can try and follow them up as well. More hyena. They really were busy last night. I noticed I haven't got my jacket on this afternoon. It is pretty warm, but I can feel that wind just starting to creep. And that chill on the winds is also slightly apparent. But it has been overcast all day. What have we got here? Still more hyena. Roy, hyena. Okay. Weepat saying giraffe. Now that's closer, Weepat. At least we're on the hoofs. Ah, Destiny saying impala. And Jules also saying impala. John and Raisa saying kudu or nyala. Spotted wolf, some type of deer, antelope or impala. that's quite a wide variety there. Well done, spotted wolf. Chris saying Nyala. Ah, Valentine and Rose saying warthog. So quite a mixed bag there. Spotted wolf. Unfortunately, not correct with the deer. The deer we actually don't get here. We may get muntjac, but muntjac were brought in from other countries. Well, from Asia I think it originates from. I know there's muntjac deer over in the UK too. also introduced there. And I think there may be some red deer also that's been introduced, but you won't find it. It's not native to South Africa, and you wouldn't get it here in the Sabi Sands. Antelope, there's quite a few antelope species mixed in there. So who is correct? I'll give you guys a few more minutes, see if there's any more coming through. And there's no tracks up this way. Okay, so I think we do need to head south after all. But let's head south on Rebecca's road, just in case she did a U-turn for whatever reason. So we are going to go south onto Treehouse Dam and around Treehouse Dam. Bill saying Steenbok. Oh, Jules, sorry, not Bill, Jules. Just saying Steenbok. So I think we definitely ruled out that it's not hyena. I'm sorry. But hyena look more like a cat's paw, or a lion's or a leopard's paw. Just like we were seeing just before, with the 3 lobes and the 4 toes. So this one we were seeing 2 feet, one behind the other. So that should rule out some species for you, because some species walk foot on foot. So you won't see the front and the back foot as clearly as that. Connie saying Springbok. Nice try, Connie. Unfortunately we don't get Springbok here. A Springbok you tend to find out on the open plains. They prefer the plains of the Free State. You'll find them around there. The vast open plains, and further west from where we are on the plateau that's in the centre of South Africa, the central part of South Africa. So we have had a guess that is right. So which one is it? We've got until the end of Rebecca's road to the side.
I just like to check Western Guard. I'm looking for storage, Nyati and no. And Navion and the Yawad. What is
Ed, unicorn. And who is that with zebra? Bets. Oh, Peggy. Sorry, Peggy. Wildebeest or zebra. We can definitely rule out the zebra and the unicorn. They have a semicircle foot, not the cloven hoofed. I'd love to see a unicorn here. In my dreams, it is definitely there. Although the unicorn is supposed to be in the sea. The narwhal. Good afternoon, Texan. Just to update you, followed Karula down onto Philemon's Dip earlier, and I've just picked up from Conso's Fambering towards Philemon's Cut Line and west on Philemon's Cut Line. I'm going to be checking Treehouse Dam now. Ooh, we've got any more guesses coming in? We're nearly at the end of Rebecca's Road. Lilac-breasted monster. Thanks, Philip. I definitely wouldn't want to meet a bird that size who's eating, or who is a carnivore. Okay, let's try Treehouse Dam. So, what was the track? It was a warthog. It was slightly sprayed at the front, and they're quite square, but it was actually quite deep going into the thick mud. A little bit small for giraffe and for wildebeest, and even impala. Impala's a very neat triangular track. So that was quite a big warthog. You'd find them quite a lot smaller than that. Good to hear most of you got the Cloven Hoof Park. So well done to everyone who got warthog. It's one that we haven't had before. That is what Pumba's tracks would look like. In fact, I think Pumba is Swahili for warthog. Pumba. I wonder if we're going to get any more rain tonight. There's a lot of cloud around.
So what about Kurura? West Pakistan. Nara was on a board for them. So it's going to turn for our spend time most about it. There's a bit of yard
Where did all the birds go? Sounds like all the game drive vehicles are starting out much earlier nowadays. It's getting quite chilly on drive towards the end of drive. Ah. Looks like there's one track heading through there. It looks like Karula did head south after all. Okay, so we check out the pans that side. We've got more hyena tracks here now. Could have been a hyena that smudged. Raisa wants to know what the tracks were this morning. I just have to think back now. What did we have this morning? Oh yes, that was it. It was a hyena this morning and a little genet. Difficult to say if it was a small or large spotted genet. They're both roughly around the same size. Large spotted, as the name suggests, has large spots. Also known as the russet spotted genet. And a small spotted genet has small spots on its body. Beautiful little creatures though. And quite cheeky as well. There's one that lives around camp. Comes to visit us when we have fireside chat sometimes. Or just after fireside chat. When we're sitting around the fire talking. Okay, lady, are you around here? Where we had the female buffalo with the calf. I hope she actually caught up with the rest of the herd. She will be a little bit vulnerable with that calf. Anybody down there? No one down there. Mind the buffalo thorn. That one you don't want to get caught in. Hi Pam, good afternoon to you, great to hear from you. Pam always does a great job of keeping us updated on any reports of any sightings and puts them all together for us. Pam and JJ. And it is very much appreciated, I can tell you that for sure. Thanks, ladies. And this morning, the two female lionesses, obviously you wouldn't get male lionesses, the two female lions, and the cub was seen up in Buffelshoek. And just a little bit later on, towards the end of Game Drive, I think Hendry actually came across two different female lions, and he said that they had 3 mampimpans, which is babies, which must have been very new cubs. It sounded like it could have been the Unkahumas, but then a little bit later when somebody asked, he wasn't 100% sure if it was 2 females from the Unkahumas, but I think it probably will be, being up in Buffelshoek. But I really hope at some stage they will come down, and hopefully soon. It would be wonderful to see baby lion cubs, babies. I'll certainly keep my ear to the ground if that does happen. But for the time being, I do hope that we find the lady herself and the 2 cubs. They're definitely full of character. And I hope we do manage to spend a little bit more time with them at some stage. Check this track out. Because it is almost too good to be true. It is. We're able to bring the camera down. This one you don't want to miss. This one is very interesting. I know we're doing quite a few tracks this afternoon, but this one is very interesting. If you can see this animal, this would be incredible. Fresh one. Where can we get a fresh one? Yeah, I think it's probably best. And I just wanted to check the trail because, as I say, it could just be too good to be true. But I know that they are in the area, and unfortunately a lion pride was responsible for actually, unfortunately, killing one and eating it. I'm going to use the book for this just to show you. But if you can see, there's one toe here, one toe here, one toe here. Now this is the usual track that registers. You don't often see all of the track. But what I'm going to try and do now is put next to, let's do it that way, and show you what's in the book and show you what you're actually looking at. This is what we're seeing here. This, and this, and then we've actually got the front paw here. Sorry, the back paw. This is an aardvark track. And I really hope that the aardvark is still going to be around here. which was some time after the rains. May have been early morning or later on in the afternoon. They're usually nocturnal, but with it being overcast, it may have been moving around. So this is, you can actually see this is the actual size of it as well, and look how neatly it fits the size of the book as well. And then we've got the next one. If you actually stand here, maybe pan up, you might just be able to get a better angle of it. If you come back here and tilt the camera that way, just to get the light. If you do it that way, maybe sort of tilt it that way. There we go. So you can just see that these toes very nicely. Very, very nice. And sometimes you can mistake them for antelope. You see the two, and that's why I just wanted to make sure that those toes were what I was seeing and not two antelope over the top. And that's why it's quite nice to actually see the sequence, because then you can really get an idea of this animal and make sure that it is the right animal. And they're about this size, so that's about the length of it. So it's quite a nice sized adult. So it's about this size without the tail. A fantastic find. Go that way. Again, you can't hear me then. So they did go that way. And there's a number of termite mounds, and I've been saying for a while we should really be having them in this area. There's a lot of food around. It's the first time I've actually seen tracks. Occasionally we found the odd aardvark hole. I think we definitely have to come back here a little bit later and have a drive around after dark. That's if we don't hit it lucky now. Aardvark. Oh, actually, I'll tell you what, for those of you who don't know what it looks like, I still have my book here. Aardvark, also known as an ant bear. I can find it here. There we go. That is an aardvark. Powerful front paws for actually digging into the ground and trying to make nests as well. They make two types of hole, one to feed and one to sleep in. These beautiful big ears, long nose, sticky tongue, and they do walk on all fours, although when they get up a bit of speed they actually hop a bit like a kangaroo. It's quite funny to see. Aardvark, ant bear, aardvark translates as earth pig. Oh, and somebody wanted to know a bit earlier, the book, the tracking book. Again, any books that I use I have put up on my public Facebook page, the ISBN numbers. So if anybody would like to have a look for the books online or in a bookshop, then the numbers are up on the discussion page on my public Facebook page. And it's a field guide to the animal tracks of southern Africa. by Louis Liebenberg. Very good tracking book. It's probably my favourite tracking book to use. And most of the tracks are quite accurate, and especially when you've got the actual sizes. As you saw, it's quite useful. So, Lady Karula, where are you? Are you going to show yourself today? I hope she doesn't come across the aardvark. I remember one of my colleagues saying they caught 2 jackal trying to attack an aardvark, and the aardvark, every time the jackal kept coming close to them, he was punching them out of the way. Which I think would have been quite an interesting sighting to see. Hi Mark! Welcome on board. What does cheeky mean? It means... what's another word can you use for it? Cheeky. Got a lot of character. You always say a monkey's quite cheeky. Say a cheeky monkey. They're willing to do things, and I see something on the road there. Nope. They're willing to push the boundaries in a funny way, and you kind of have to give them credit because they are quite funny. It's like a baby monkey coming in and nicking something out an adult's hand and running off with it and eating it. It's quite cheeky. So, we are on Shibam Road, heading north, looking out for Karula and her cubs. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. the animals are going on strike this afternoon, including the dwarf mongoose. And even the birds, actually. I'm not seeing many birds around. Maybe there's a big storm on its way. The clouds do look like they're breaking up a little bit. And just to give you an update on what's happening with the school equipment, they have been on holiday for a week or so. I think they've got this last week left. And I've got half the equipment. I'm still waiting for the kit to be delivered. Unfortunately, they actually ran out of the colour that the school requested. So we're having to wait until the next batch is being made, and then it will be delivered. And I'm hoping sometime next week, sometime this week, we're hoping to get the rest of the equipment picked up from Nelspruit, which is a good 3 hours drive from here. And hopefully take it through sometime next week. That's what I'm hoping to do. And if you would like to watch, I actually did interview the teacher while we were there at the school, and she showed us around, and those videos are up on the Facebook page as well. And what actually happened is I was buying some footballs and netballs and a rugby ball and cricket set. But we actually found that they were also saying volleyball is a very big sport here in South Africa. We managed to find a volleyball net and ball, and maybe they can use the net for other things as well. I managed to find a couple of cricket sets with the stumps and a few tennis balls as well. So they've got quite a variety of things to play with. And a couple of cones as well, so at least they've got some form of a goal to play soccer with at the moment. At the moment they have to go up to the field. And of course the main thing that they were asking for was the netball kit. So that when the school competes, they look a little bit more professional, and it gives the team a lot of spirit, because they look professional and they feel professional and proud to wear their school's colours. And it does actually have quite a lot of influence on the way that they play, because if you look the part and feel the part, you're more likely to play the part. But thanks again to everybody who bought the calendars and who donated money, and hopefully you should be able to see the return on the money that you have donated very soon. And I will be taking a video of it back here at Treehouse Dam. I just want to make doubly sure there's nothing that we missed. I think she is hiding for the time being. Maybe we should try a little bit later. She might just pop out at some stage again like she did this morning. Let's go and check out Treehouse. No, we're here. Twin Dams, there we go. And Chelopang quickly. But I think if we're going to have any look at seeing her, we need to kind of keep driving around here in the west for the time being. Sounds like there's a few of the vehicles who might be driving around here. Actually, let's try this on the side again, just in case the aardvark comes out this side. we do have a potential to see aardvark, honey badger, porcupine, all in this area. We've had the tracks and we've had quills and things like that dropped. Hi Peggy, good afternoon. I'm just starting to think what town you're talking about. You're saying you think you might be at the loop. What town am I talking about going to? I think maybe, was it just a little bit earlier I was talking about having to go to Nelspruit to go and get some of the sports equipment. Ah! Guess whose tracks I've just found? Yep, it is hers. Okay, this way then. Oh wow, lots of tracks here as well. And I think she's picked the cubs up. Looks like the cubs' tracks are here too. Okay. See, there is a reason why we need to check everywhere. And Nelspruit is actually the biggest town closest to us. So Hoedspruit's quite a small town. You don't really get much in the way of choice in the shops that are there. But if you do want choice, then Nelspruit is our closest spot. Okay, yeah, I've just picked up the tracks here, going that way, yeah. Yeah, same, okay. Also saying he just had some tracks outside. Going towards Elephant Skull, so he's going to check out Chelapan. So that's why we did have to go all the way. All the baboons came back this way. That is why we had to go all the way to Unfortunately, can't see the tracks that cross over. It depends on which part she crosses over into. But yes, that's why we have to go and get the sports equipment from Nelspruit and not Hoedspruit, sadly. So Hoedsprout's about an hour away. Hour and a quarter, hour and a half, something like that. me to Jamie, Zora, Kuliandra. I hope I've got your name right. Welcome on board. And Leonard, welcome on board this afternoon. And you may have missed who I was talking about a little bit earlier. We're busy tracking Karula, who is our resident female leopard. And we've had her tracks. We actually followed her from this morning. Managed to catch up with her this morning. We had her tracks heading down towards the dam we've just been at. And the guide who I've just bumped into said he had tracks crossing over, and unfortunately with all the traffic that's gone along there, I've not picked up exactly where those tracks went. So I'm going to check down here. He's checking Chelapan. The last tracks I had came this way of her and the cubs, so we're going to check out this side, and if he sees anything on Chelapan's side, then we'll go that side. But I think she does. She's moved the cubs again. And we were lucky enough, she actually left the cubs with us. Now whether she did it on purpose or whether it just happened to be that's where she decided to leave them. But whatever happened, she trusted us enough to leave them. And just on that junction where we were now was where she left them with us. And another vehicle. Cubs stayed put. She went around the corner and went to go and hunt, I think. And the cubs came and sat a few meters from the vehicle, unfazed by the vehicle. And when they realised Mum wasn't coming back, they went to conceal themselves. I think we need to have a really good look in this drainage line. I keep saying this and I keep saying it again. If I was Karula, I'd leave my cubs in here. There's a lot of places and lots of big trees that they can hide away in. And if she's crossed over, she could even be just in the drainage line, just here on the bank. Maybe she's going to be crossing over that side. But I'd love to find her for you this afternoon. And the brilliant thing about Karula, she's very relaxed. She's such a beautiful cat. And if you look very closely on her forehead, actually spells, her spots actually spell out wow. And it really is very fitting for her. I was saying earlier, her daughters have had cubs, and each of them has lost a cub. And they are slightly older than what Karula was when she had her first litter. And without wanting to jinx it, so far she's doing extremely well, and she's got 2 sets of cubs through to adulthood, and she's now on her 3rd litter. And they definitely are full of life at the moment. Chasing each other, climbing trees, nearly falling out of trees. I think, Daniel, are you busy with a diary on that? Are you busy with that footage? Are you busy editing the footage of Karula and the cubs? Yeah, so Daniel's busy editing a bit of the footage there, so I hope we'll be able to show the diary at some stage. And when I eventually get around to writing the blog, which I hope is going to be very soon, and share that wonderful sighting with everyone, I'll try and post the link to the diary on the page as well, and it will be going up on YouTube. It really was quite a fantastic sighting, and Herman did such a good job at following what the cubs were doing in the tree. quite amazing. You can have a day where it's packed full. Birds and animals everywhere you look. And then some days it's as if everything has gone on the holidays. We've gone to Kruger for the day. But not to worry. There could be something just around the corner. And it does actually give us a chance to focus on the smaller things, like the tracks. And the tracks can be just as interesting as the animal. And I wonder how many of you have ever seen an aardvark track before, or even a warthog track. That was a new one for us today. Wow, the water has risen yet again. Okay, we're going to head up towards Chelapan then, see if we can find any more tracks. Those tracks were looking pretty fresh, the ones that we just found. I hear a bird. Now it's gone quiet. If anybody heard it and wants to identify it, then please do. Again, questions at wildersafari.tv. Heard the bird? What was the bird that was calling? Hi, Tiger Man. And wanting to know a bit about Karula's mother, Safari. Ooh, hello. Got some big male leopard tracks here. Heading that way. Just been down those roads. So maybe we need to do another lap around here just now. Okay, let's continue up a little bit further and we'll come back down. Maybe go around that way again. Maybe Karula's coming through this block. Maybe those tracks belong to Yambili Ordan. He was seen on the eastern side this morning. We did try and have a quick look for him before heading back over this side for Karula. But Safari, Karula's mother, as far as I know, she is still alive. She operates, or she has a territory further off into the west. And when Karula was younger, she would actually come onto her territory and even babysit for her, which is quite unusual for leopards. You don't really hear of grandmas coming and babysitting, which was quite amazing. Wow, leopard was on the move today. Down here. And she does have only one eye. Her left eye, I think it is, if I can remember rightly. Or leftly. I don't think anyone's too sure what happened. Oh, no, come back. I needed you. Okay, let's find another one. Maybe we do have to go back down and do the other side of Twin Dams. I think I did hear a rumour it was possibly scratched by another leopard. Maybe one of the viewers can help me out with that.
Yeah, thanks, man. I forgot that one this morning, so I figured out what's about it.
And the little crested Franklins in the road. Well, we'll turn around again at Chelapan. Or maybe we should do another drive around the block, because we didn't do this part of Weaver's Nest. That might be a plan. That might be a plan. Just goes to show, the other guide did this part and did this area. Actually, let's just go and have a quick check closer. You never know. But this part was missed out, the Twin Dams. That's why we took that side. And between Chelapan and Elephant School Junction, that was where we found the male leopard tracks. And yet all the other roads, nothing of him on there. Ah, there we go. we get this little bird here? No. Camera shy. In front of us, if we can. There is one starting to call. So if anyone did hear the bird calling, belongs to this little bird, anybody wants to have a guess? But I think we need to head back south. Still on our trail for leopard. I haven't seen any tracks for the rhinos this afternoon, or elephant. So we're also on the lookout for any of those animals too. Okay. Okay. An ostrich. Shift lock. See, I don't want just the bird, I want the species of the bird. Gotta make it easy. Actually seeing the bird as well might help you with the IDing of the bird call. Then I think we'll try Mamba Road, or even Nedwood Road up onto Mamba Road. That might be an idea. I think we'll head further off into the east, or south and then east. But each time we're trying to do these laps around the blocks where we think Karula might be. So that can help in looking or finding more tracks. And she's slowly making her way through this block here. Even though one vehicle has gone that way, it could just be that we just time it right. We see as she's walking through the block. Hi Ryan, is it possible to tell the time the animal walks through? Oh, there's some kingfishers that just flew off there. Welcome to you this afternoon on board. And sometimes it is. Certainly there was a difference between the tracks that we were seeing down on the southern side of the dam and the tracks that we were seeing on the northern side. And it looked like she did. Ooh, little four-tailed drongo here. Flew off. Sitting right on the edge of the branch here. But she certainly, they certainly looked fresher this side. But it's not always easy to tell the exact time. You can maybe guesstimate maybe an hour or 2 hours. But I don't think those tracks were that long ago. That's why I'm quite willing to do these laps around here. The male tracks look older, to be honest. The male tracks look maybe 3 or 4, maybe even 5 hours old. So there is already some of the track worn away. And there hasn't been too much wind. It is a wet track, so they didn't look fresh. They had dried out a little bit, but these ones on here did look fairly fresh. I say with all this traffic, I've not been able to see or determine exactly where along this road she crossed over. Was able, and he just said that she crossed over here somewhere, but then he said he would check out Cheddar Pan, so it sounded like he had the tracks crossing further up. Who was that, sorry? Why are you, sir? Getting a couple of species mixed in together there. Laughing turtle dove. Oops. Laura, Jack. And Rosie. Cape turtle dove, that's the one. So close, Raisa. You do get the laughing dove, which is pink in colour, and the Cape turtle dove, which is the bird of a bad influence, or with a bad influence, especially on me. Pat, also with Cape turtle dove. Ooh, Cape turtle dove. Lisa with ringneck dove. And Roy with Egyptian dove. Don't even know, is there such a thing as an Egyptian dove? Maybe further north? Could be. Ringneck dove, close Lisa. But the one thing is you can get a little bit mixed up with the African mourning dove. And the red-eyed dove. So you need to look for the black eye on the Cape turtle dove. As I say, the laughing dove doesn't really have much of a collar, if I remember rightly. I just remember looking, I always look for the breast, the pinkness of the breast. And quite a lot of it over the body, and it's quite a lot smaller than the Cape turtle dove. The reason why it's a bad influence. Ooh, there's a crested barbet, can we get him? Sitting on the road there. And this was the bird that was calling this morning. There he goes. Actually, look at this. I think we're going to have a look at this. There's something else I want you guys to have a look at. And I think this is... See if you guys can get pretty close. This could be quite cool. I must admit I've never seen it as good as this before. If we have a look just beneath our feet, this is possibly what the crested barbet was looking for on the ground. This is known as an ant highway. Look at that. You can even hear the crested barbet calling now. And with the sand being so soft, and the amount of bodies that have been moving up and down here, you can actually see the track that they're leaving. And sometimes you'll actually see this without the ants. But I've never seen it so wide like this before. It's quite amazing. They're going right up into the bush there. Now, one of the differences with the ants from a termite is the fact that the ants have 3 segments in the body, and if you actually look quite closely you might be able to see them as they're running up and down. I'm not seeing any soldiers here. These are all the workers, quite tiny. The soldiers would be much, much larger with the big jaws. And they do have, or some species have the capability, as I'm sure a lot of people know, of stinging. And that's what makes them closely related to bees and wasps. Whereas the termite doesn't have that ability. So they're actually in a separate order, all on their own. Oh, this is their nest entrance here. See all the holes there? That's the nest entrance just there. See all these holes in here. And most ant species are carnivorous, whereas the termites are herbivores. The valley is really quite amazing. Can we actually have a pan through and see where it stretches? A river of ants. Definitely a tasty meal for any barbet, and this is the block where we lost those tracks of the ant bear or the aardvark. So maybe later on this evening we'll have to check back here. So we're going to check the fire break here, see if either our male leopard is down here, or Karula, even their tracks just to push us on to the next road that she might be on. Where's all the water buck gone? All by the lodge. That's where they were this morning. Robin, good afternoon to you. Is Karula in her prime, being 7 years old? Yeah, she is actually. She's definitely not past it yet. She is in her prime. So her mother is around 16, 17 years old. It's usually the age of a leopard. You're looking at maybe 13 or 14, something like that. So here in the Sabi Sands, especially the females, seem to do quite well in lasting to their late teens. So she's definitely got a few good years in her yet. And what we have seen is that the females will continue to breed right up until their late teens. White Cloth, who was supposed to be the eldest, I think she was about 17 or 18. She was just a little bit older than Safari. And she had a son who was the same age as Mishu and Induna. And unfortunately she died because of a male killing or trying to kill her cub. And he was just over a year old. So I think everyone was a little bit worried he wasn't going to survive. I've got a hyena track there. But they are actually starting to hunt around a year old. And I think he was just over. I think it was about a year and a half. So he should be able to make it on his own. And we did see him a few weeks later after she died. He was actually trying to steal some food from Induna. And I haven't heard word of him since. It could be he's just sticking to the bush, just keeping himself to himself, and you never know. He might just pop up in a few years. And I have got a couple of pictures just trying to ID him, just in case he does do that. I think he's just going to be lying low for a little while, away from the males. Okay, well, let's go Leadwood Road then. Down onto Mamba. Coming back onto Twin Dams. So I want to keep coming back to this area if we can. Try and increase our chance of seeing Karula this afternoon. We got here. More male leopard tracks. Okay, so our leopard came through here. Big male. Very big male. Could be Yambili. Then he did walk down here. Could even be Mafuffinyan. I don't think Mafuffinyan goes that far in towards Chelapan, which makes me think it's Yambili. Maybe it's even one of the boys, but I don't think so. It looks like a big male. Does something funny. There he is. Nope, that's hyena. Okay. Oh, I see something big. I see a rhino. That's where you guys have been hiding out. No, don't run away. Come, Yusuf. Hopefully he's going to walk right down into the drainage line and out the other side. Now I'm going to stop here and see what he does. He's certainly listening to us. You're going to come this side. No, go that way. No, come back, please. I'm having a rhino withdrawal symptom. I really want to see rhino. You see him? Oh, there he is. You see him through there? Yeah, come out and see us. I wonder if it's going to use this pathway here or just carry on. Looks like it's going to carry on. I'm just looking move back a little bit. We are just on the southern part of our boundary. I'm just going to turn around and see if we can head down towards the drainage line, which is where he's heading, and just see if we have a chance to have a look at the drainage line. Just by the way, he was holding his head quite low. You could just see the ears swiveling and that huge lump on the back of his neck, the nuchal lump. And because he's got such a large head, he's going to need quite a large counterbalance. Whereas the black rhino have a fairly small head in comparison. So they don't need as big a lump on the back of their neck. And you will find black rhino tend to hold the heads up higher. I'm hoping he might make his way down here. We may just follow a path that runs next to the drainage line. Oh, there it comes. Yep, comes down into the drainage line. You see him from there at all? A little bit.
Thank you. I'm pulling out of the lock of Antima. She's gone south. She's like, I don't know if it's open.
All stations, there's one on Combi Frambring south from the drainage line on Gary Main. Well, there we go. So unfortunately we can't follow. But I'm very glad we were able to see a white rhino. Pink. Our male leopard is crossed over, so let's continue towards Deadwood Road, which is where we were heading. One male, not our normal territory holder. This is where he came from. Our normal territory holder is the short-horn male rhino. They did look like one of the males who was part of the crash of 5, and they're usually pretty relaxed around us. He looked like a different male. I think we had a little bit of static just before. We can give the question that was trying to come through a little bit earlier go as well. And I didn't catch who was asking about how big a male leopard's territory is. Hi Zach, good afternoon to you. Zach wanting to know how big can a male leopard's territory be, and have we ever seen a cheetah here in the Juma Game Reserve on Wild Earth? And they've actually found through some research that's been done that male leopards seem to have, I think it was an average of about 5,000 to 8,000 hectares. And here on Karula's territory, we see 3 resident males. Mvula, who operates this side, so east around Cheetahcut Line, he seems to be heading around Drakensberg Drive, but he doesn't seem to head any further west. Yambili Jordan, who's in the north usually, and I think that's whose tracks are going down to the south. And apparently he's putting a lot of pressure on Mafufenyan, which is thought to be Karula's father. And Mafufenyan tends to be having territory in the south. So we usually see him around the pans on Shabam Road. We've seen him there a few times on Gary Main. So that's where, if we see him, that's where he usually pops up. And cheetah, we have seen cheetah a few times. But they don't really hunt too well in this type of habitat. Although there has been one or two individuals that have had good success in this type of habitat. The female on the old reserve we used to work at, she would be right at home in this type of habitat. She would hunt very, very efficiently, which I think she thought she was a leopard. But generally they prefer hunting in the open plains. We don't have too many of the open plains here. We do have the quarantine area, which is the open area. And apparently there was a female that would actually hunt there until she ran into a log and injured herself a little bit. So apparently she hasn't been back there to hunt since. I think it must have put it off a little bit. We do get the cheetahs hunting in Sandy Patch area on occasion and in Impala Plains. We have had 3 male cheetah right next to Gowrie Dam, Treehouse Dam also. We had a beautiful sighting late last year of the three males going down there to drink. So we can see cheetah, just not as often. What have we got in the road here? I see something, a giraffe, baby giraffe. So the tail swishing. There we go. Oh, there you are. Okay, am I going to be able to get around the corner? Or are you going to run off? I still see it. Nope. Disappeared. There it is. Can you see it just through the gap there? A little bit forward. There you go. Quite young. There should be another one around, adult at least. Quite young to be on its own. The strongest bond in the giraffes is between mother and calf, but otherwise it's a very loose association. You can get a herd of females, you can get a mixed herd, you can get a herd of males. They can be on their own. I'm just wondering, we might be able to see him if we move on a little bit further. And maybe a better gap there. Okay. Just see. doesn't look that old. It looks about 1.5 years old at the most. And just through this gap here. Very well hidden behind the tree. That would have worked out so well. Oh, coming out. It's being very camera shy. Oh well. So Mamba Road it is then. Currently on Ledwood Road. As the dusk falls, I do want to head back around Treehouse Dam, from where we had that ant trail, just in case our ant bear shows up. And Karula as well, she might just come out from that block. Right on our eastern boundary now. We've been on our southern boundary this afternoon, Gowrie, Maine, where we saw the rhino. We're now on the eastern boundary. Which is Cheetah Cut Line. And the bats are out early today. Speaking of bats, I think I've got some bats in my room. I was just busy on Facebook just a little bit earlier, trying to put some updates in, and I kept hearing this chattering, high-pitched chattering. Every time I tried to climb up into my little loft, I couldn't see anything. At least I know they won't keep me awake at night. And anybody wanting to know about the new tryouts, there is going to be another blog about Jock number 2, which is going to be up on the Wild Earth webpage. Oh, it is already out. So if you would like to read about Jock number 2, it is already out. So look under news, under Safari. That's where all the blogs, including the blogs about Karula and her family, they're all posted there. And there's pictures and blogs on how to identify most of her family members. I'm still getting around to writing the rest. And also how Mvula fits into everything. Mvula, one of the other territory holders around here. I will be writing a blog about Safari, her mother. There is one about her possible father. Mvula? No? Mafufinyan. This is Mamba Road. I wonder if it was actually called Mamba Road because it's so long and straight. have to find out the story about Mamba Road. What makes Mamba Road Mamba Road? Usually it's when an animal's seen on that road for the first time, after it's been made. What's that? A branch. That's what it is. I'm doing well this afternoon. A few branches. I must admit, an African bush this evening is really giving such a wonderful smell. So a lot of you know my sense of smell is not really good. It's just got this beautiful fresh smell from the rain. I haven't found any sign of the elephants either this afternoon. That's the first rhino tracks. We actually found the rhino before the tracks. And our leopards are MIA at the moment. Somewhere in the block between Twin Dams Road, Cheddar Path and Elephant Skull. Probably the straightest road that's not an old fence line, Mamba Road, with a little kink in its tail. Now I've got the problem. Which way do we go? I don't know what my gut's saying now. See, now this is a problem. This is exactly the same problem I had this morning. I didn't actually know what my instinct was telling me. Something said to me, what about Gary Cookline? And then something else said, no, what about Central? You said left. Let's go left. I do wonder if, as we were driving along Central Road, Kulu was making her way down Buffels Hook Cut Line and down onto Gary Cut Line, which is where I was originally going to go. And the car sort of veered off to the right. So I thought, well, the car's pointing that direction, let's go that way. And halfway along I thought, maybe we should have taken Gary Cut Line. I thought, well, I'm committed now. And look what happened. Sometimes I get it right. Good afternoon to you, Alejandro from Uruguay. Great to hear you on board with us this afternoon even. Your morning maybe. Our evening. I'm wanting to know, is there a mountain or somewhere high where we can look over the whole park? Sometimes I wish there was. And unfortunately, our little part of the world, our 1,000 hectares we drive around here in the Sabi Sands, doesn't have a hill. You see on the old fence lines where the straight roads are, it does undulate quite nicely, but no big hills, sadly to say. It would be very useful. The Sabi Sands itself is roughly around 65,000 hectares, and there are areas where there are little, what we call little koppies, so little hills. You can actually stand on there and see quite far with the spotlights. Are we going to find our aardvark? I do wonder. Let's do a lap around Treehouse Dam and head up towards Cheddar Pan. never know, we might even be able to see some hyenas. This spot here, I remember very well. It's one of my very first drives. And I was out with Mark when we used to go out on camera as well. And I remember we saw Mishu and Induna, the two male leopards, playing, and it was actually one of the last times we got to see them play together. And their play got interrupted by the hyenas coming in, and both of them shot up the trees. And Misha, I think, went into the tree that he'd been in the night before, because around that area was actually where they had a carcass, and they were eating from the carcass the night before, or even the day before as well. And we'd gone there to try and get tracks, and we actually weren't expecting the two boys to still be there, but they were. And Induna also managed to get himself into a tree. So the two boys were sitting there while the hyenas, there was probably about 4 or 5 of them, including the matriarch, the floppy-eared female. She was there. And the boys would not come down until they left. But if ever you find one hyena with one of the boys, they will stay put. And we've even seen them almost coming nose to nose from each other. Getting 1 or 2 drops of rain. It's very intermittent at the moment. If it is getting heavier, we are going to have to close down. Quite a big block in here. Now the aardvark, it doesn't stand very tall. Maybe about the size of a small dog. Medium dog, actually. Small dogs are like little Yorkshire Terriers and things like that, so it's bigger than that. Maybe the size of a Labrador puppy that's about a year old, along those lines. Little Dacre. I saw the eyes in the bush run off. almost at the pans. I'll take Gary Main back. And Weaver's Nest. See if Karula's popped out there. And, we may have to follow her up on the movements tomorrow morning now. Especially at night, it's not great to spotlight if she does have the cubs with her, because it can show up the cubs to predators. Still being very small, they're still very vulnerable. And just like antelope and even scrub hare, anything that could be eaten really is not great to be spotlights or have the spotlight put on them. I'm going to try and check out the quarry. Just a little bit worried about getting caught in the rain. I've seen one brown hyena there before. One of these days, Lisa, I'd love to have smell-o-vision. I'd have so much fun with that. Definitely a challenge there. You never know, one day. One day. Aardvark still sleeping, or maybe just checking out all the termite mounds that are in there. We're going to be passing our ant highway. We'll see if it's going to make a turn there. But still very encouraging to know that there's one in the area. I'm going to keep a lookout for it. Just hope the lions and leopards don't give it any hassle. Where our ant highway was. Still busy. we've got a bush baby. Let's see, let's go stick around. We gotta be quick. There we go. Hi Susan! Is there any armadillos? Not here in South Africa. They normally found over in the Americas, South America usually I think. Okay, I'm gonna go to the other side of the branch, but I did jump into this tree here. Did get his eye shining back. It's gone already. Shame. Sometimes they stick around, sometimes they don't. Again, I think it depends on how often they see vehicles. Oh, the lights will be good. Not even an owl tonight. And those clouds do look very ominous. What we got in the road! We found her! So she's still in the road. She's just on the edge here. Actually, who is it? Get around the corner. He's going off. Stick there. I think he trod on it. It's one of the boys. And it looks to me that it could be Induna, especially with part of the tail. But he stepped on the log, or the branch, and it flicked back. He was trying to work out what it was, I think. Oh. Can't see too well there. Let's see if we can go round. This is actually looking like it's quite a wet area. So, latch there. It looks like the elephants have been playing in here a lot. Yeah, unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be able to follow him. It's getting quite thick there. And this looks like it's quite muddy. Can you see him back there? Nothing there. So let's go around onto Chelapan Road. Maybe it'll cut through onto there. Great to see him quickly. The last thing we want to do is sink. They did look like Induna to me. It was definitely one of the boys. And Mishu does have a lot of white in his tail. Thanks, Susan. Gonna send me some armadillos. Magodi. Haven't heard about Magodi for a little while. We may see him again sometime next year or sometime later on this year. I was actually watching some footage of Magodi the other day. Big bull elephant, very relaxed bull. We had a lot of wonderful sightings with him. And bull elephants can travel over quite a considerable distance. And especially when they're in estrus, they may go in search of female herds further afield from the area that they usually stick around in. So he may just pop up again. Won't write him off just yet. And we do actually get other elephants that we only see every year, once a year or a couple of times a year. I'm just trying to think the direction that he was moving in. He may just pop out. There's a lot of gain trails that lead this way. Even though double back on himself, he might just pick another gain trail that leads this way. They're great to have a quick glimpse of him though. I actually did think it was Karula to begin with. maybe he's picked up her scent. Maybe that's why he changed direction. So it looked like he was going to take the game trail that leads right up here. And turned around. Let's just have one more check down Twin Dams Road. And we'll head back up towards the quarantine area. See if there's any action that side. A chameleon with quite far up in the bush. Again, he caught the trail of something. But again, something to follow up on in the morning. We'll have to have a look around here for his tracks, as well as for rulers. I do wonder where she definitely picked up the cubs from somewhere. I think it was that block around Fillerman's cut line, maybe just the northern side of it, maybe just in the drainage line there. Now she's heading east to may even be leaving them here, or maybe even in the drainage line again. She's definitely walking quite a distance. I'm just amazed at the amount of ground that she covered last night. And who knows where else she walked. Well, unfortunately, it has come to the time to say goodbye. But as I say, it was great to see Nduna and even the rhino. But I do wonder if there is going to be some rain on the way. All the animals do seem to be on their holidays. I'm hoping they're going to come out again soon, along with the birds. But thank you very much for joining us this evening. And thank you for all the questions. And I hope you enjoyed all the tracks as well. And it's great to know that we do have an aardvark in the area. So we'll definitely be keeping a very close watch out in that area for it. And maybe even on the quarantine, there are a few termite mounds there too that it could go and visit. So I'm hoping it may be the start of something, maybe having an ant bear over here and maybe one or two others, who knows. But here's hoping. Thank you very much, Daniel, for all your camera work. I hope you've enjoyed it this afternoon. And thanks, Seb, as well as Craig back in Final Control. My name's Tara and you've been watching Wild Earth. Take care, everyone. See you again soon.